Sticks and stones may break my bones, but vines only last 6 seconds.
Oh, R.I.P. Vine.
Oh, R.I.P. Vine.
TikTok is just not the same.
Someone said to me that TikTok is like the pet cemetery of Vine, where it died and it came back slightly wrong.
Yes.
Although, honestly, I do appreciate that the humor inherent in TikTok is pretty much on par with Vine, but they're allowed to stretch it out a bit.
Yeah. Anyway,
welcome to the special Reboot edition of Charmed Chats with Kendra
and Kat.
Today we're covering episode 15, Switches and Stones.
Yeah.
Oh, before I get to the summary, at one point, I think it was Mel used the phrase, "Oh, this is deja vu all over again." I'm like, that was the season finale for one.
Yep. That it was.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Blue.
Oh, Blue.
He'll pipe down.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to that summary.
Yes, please.
We start off with Macy's conference with the elders. After describing her symptoms, one tells Macy that she's still in quote-unquote early stages. But both Macy and Charity are called away to the weird room under the house. It is only accessible by magical means. Harry and Charity suspect it to be a device which can amplify powers. Mel and Jada are hiking through the wilds of Ireland, seeking a stone to return the keeper, now revealed to be Fiona, to full power. During some exposition, vines attempt to kill them. Defeating them reveals a glowy green stone. Maggie meets a newbie as she heads to Spring Rush. Lucy warns her about the feelings of some of the other Kappas. Mel arrives home to a bazillion texts and a verbal haranguing from Maggie. They argue, and a glowing handprint is left behind on Mel's arm. Macy has a nightmare about a man turning into stone. Her early morning run to calm down is cut short when she spots a strange statue on campus. Surprise! It's Nightmare Dude. Mel and Maggie wake up not only having switched rooms, but also clothes and, oh yeah, bodies? They call Harry, who determines that it is a result of the vortex viribus under the house. Unfortunately, their powers haven't switched. Sticky wicket, indeed. Macy comes in to tell them of the petrification on the quad. They arrive to get a sample, but a crowd of people is surrounding the art installation. Maggie can't use Mel's powers as of yet, so she gets the Gawkers to leave by her own means. Maggie realizes that she can use her current situation to pump Jada for information. Mel gets Greek snatched for rush activities. Macy gets a magical acupuncture session with elders, hairstick, and pantsuit. The former tells the latter that they may not want to cure Macy if something has been awakened. Mel makes an attempt to fit in with the pledges on the way to a toga party. Maggie ditches Mel's shift at the haunt to hang out with Jada. She gets invited to see Fiona. When 2 more statues are discovered on campus, Harry tells Macy the good news, that she can't possibly be the one to have done it. Macy's analysis reveals the stone to have Greek origins. A Medusa, perhaps? Mel, at the toga party, tries to comfort Daphne, who bails. In her pursuit, she finds Parker and then Lucy, who ropes her into doing some shots from a Mount Olympus luge. Macy is unhappy with Charity's directive to destroy Medusa, given her history. Maggie does a passable job seeming like Mel while talking with Fiona, and by passable I mean Jada doesn't call her on it. Meanwhile, at the party, Medusa strikes again. Mel calls Harry, who brings Macy, Maggie, and Charity. After finding one of the victims' phones, the girls realize Medusa is going after the Greek system. Mel supposes that Daphne, the nervous pledge from before, may have unwittingly summoned her. Daphne confirms this, and the girls hear screams from downstairs. Harry gets Macy to lift her shield just in time to avoid being turned into stone like the rest of the hallway, including Harry and Charity and Parker. When Maggie finally gets a hold of Mel's freezing, Macy has a revelation. Medusa wants to be seen. She tells Maggie to let her loose, then drops the sword Charity brought. She promises to right the wrongs done to people like her and like Medusa and Daphne. Medusa then puts away her snake eyes, and turns herself into stone before exploding in a bright green light. Everyone at the party returns to flesh. After Harry mind-wipes some Greeks, Mel shows the slut-shamey photos to Lucy. Lucy, to her credit, promises to report those involved. Parker kicks them out of the frat, permanently. Mel and Maggie bond in the kitchen over ice cream and discover they're finally able to switch back. They tell Harry the good news. Charity brings Macy some tea and they chat about changing methods. Elder Hairstick tells Macy that the vortex awakened in her the evil sight, which she can use to find out the identity of her mother's killer. Macy barely has time to argue before Hairstick throws her, hairstick, into Macy's forehead, jump-starting a vision. In it, Macy sees Charity having just thrown Marisol out of the window. The moment Macy tells Hairstick this, Hairstick is killed by Charity. The end.
Dun dun dun!
Yeah.
Oh boy, this episode.
Yeah.
This episode, my goodness.
I'm just super glad that finally we have a better pop culture representation for Medusa.
Yeah.
Because it's super unfair. Basically, if you don't know, if you're not that familiar with Greek mythology, which what were you doing in middle school? Possibly in Egyptian mythology? I don't know. I did both. You know? I contain multitudes, right?
Darn tootin'.
Medusa was a priestess in, I believe, the Temple of Athena?
I think so.
She got raped. I've heard several stories whether or not it was Zeus or Poseidon. I'm unsure, but either way,
it's mythology, so it's, wishy-washy.
Yes. Zeus stuck his dick in everything, and that's really all you need to know.
Yeah.
But anyway, after her assault, because she was a priestess and they're supposed to remain virginal or whatever the fuck,
there was victim blaming that happened.
There was victim blaming that happened, and because no one could hold her assaulter to account, Athena turned her into a Gorgon.
Yeah.
And the thing about Gorgons is that when they look at you, they turn you to stone.
Yeah.
So, in some ways, punishment, in other ways, weaponized her. Depending on your view of things.
Depending on your view, but still,
Still not ideal.
Punishing the victim because of something that happened to her.
Okay, yeah. The Gorgon thing, you can debate about whether or not that specifically is only punishment or not. However, the real punishment is that then they got Perseus to hunt her down and kill her.
Yeah.
And apparently she had the Gorgon sisters or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
She
the whole
wasn't
snakes
the
for
only
hair
one,
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's... yeah.
Yeah. Using a mirrored shield.
Yeah. I mean, I...
And then I think in the mythology because he had to hunt her down to take her to some king who was like a total douchebag. Or he took her head, and then I think I vaguely recall something happening with the king where he was gonna be evil about it, and so Perseus takes the head out and just like turns everyone to stone in that room.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like
even with her head,
he gets double crossed, so he triple crosses.
Yeah, even with her head detached from her body, it still turned people to stone.
Yeah,
yeah. And so for a very long time, I used to have a necklace with a Medusa on it, because it was like, Medusa has become like the patron saint of women, basically, of like, is a man being rude to you? Here, let me turn him to stone for you.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so this episode kind of harkened me back to those days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the second she appeared on screen, I'm like, oh, that's her.
Yep, absolutely.
Because even Lucy is just like, is that girl Russian? I've never seen her before.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I Okay, so the whole Freaky Friday thing was extremely amusing to me. I do not think it was distributed evenly across the two actresses because, Sarah Jeffrey did a very good job of, having a slightly more stereotypical lesbian wardrobe and acting just generally a little miffed with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then Melanie Diaz basically gets a bonkers wardrobe.
Yep.
Absolutely insane.
Yep.
I do not know that Maggie would actually wear that shit. Like, yes, she's into it was too clashy. Like, it was too much. And maybe it was also because it was on Melanie Diaz.
I think it was because it was on Mel that you're just like,
I know, but I feel like they also chose an extremely loud outfit.
Oh yeah, it was.
They did not have to do that.
It was absolutely multiple patterns at once.
Multiple clashing patterns, which, I'm sure Sarah can pull off very well. But, like, that's not the thing you want to introduce in this episode, specifically.
I personally, my absolute favorite thing is how they remind us that Mel is in Maggie's body at the toga party.
Mm-hmm.
Is she puts on the leather jacket over the toga.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, Lucy did a really good job picking out that toga for Maggie.
Yeah. But like,
and the cute little crown.
As soon as she put on the leather jacket, I'm like, oh right, so that we know she's Mel. Yeah.
Well, that and she frowns a lot.
Yeah. But it was brilliant. I just loved that.
Yeah, I feel like they just could have used more subtle clues and fabrics for Mel.
Yeah,
for Maggie, I guess. It's confusing.
Yeah. Maggie in Mel.
Yeah. And finally, we get a mention of the underage drinking.
Yes. Yes.
Fucking finally. I especially enjoyed where Parker came in and greets her and, like, does the kiss. And then she's like, no, this is Mel. And he immediately is just like, oh, okay. Yeah, magic shit. I can accept this. And then starts teasing her.
No. He doesn't do it.
Oh.
The first thing he goes is like, oh, like some role play shit? And she goes, no. And he goes, oh, okay. So, but first he thought it was a role play thing, which I thought was hilarious.
That is funny.
I was like, really? You want me to role play as my lesbian sister? What the fuck is in your brain, dude? Oh, men.
He's, I would take that as indication that he's a sub.
I mean, probably.
Yeah. Because,
yeah,
if there's one thing he knows about Mel, it's that she's bossy.
Yes.
And a little domineering. And he's like, I can work with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he teases her the rest of the time. Like, he's being her wingman, but he's also teasing her while doing it.
Yeah.
And, okay, can I just ask, is Maggie a little bit bi?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, because she gets in Mel's body, goes to see Jada. Jada kisses her, and she's like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Whereas
I'd be cool with that.
Mel goes into Maggie's body and Parker kisses her and she's just like, ew, no.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I am all for more bisexual people on TV because, representation matters.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's see. I love in my notes, in all caps, called it on the Fiona being the one being pulled from Tartarus.
Yeah.
And the next thing in my notes is, I still don't trust Jada, but I also don't trust Charity. Right there, beginning of the episode, I was like, there's just something about her. And it's been that way for a little while now.
Yeah.
I was like, there's just something about Charity that's just rubbing me the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And now I know why.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because who knows with this show? Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, who knows?
Well, yeah, I've already seen the next episode, and
I have not. I didn't.
Who's the actress who plays Charity? I forget. Anyway,
doesn't matter. I can't remember her name.
She does a really good job in the next one.
Okay. So
you're gonna like it.
Okay.
You're gonna like the acting work for sure.
I will watch that later. I just did not get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I it's just one of those things where, like, there's just been something about her since the paint can
Yeah.
thing that I've just been like, because when we first meet her, she's all like,
Just sweeps in and talks about Hugh. Or Hug, whatever the Swedish, Norwegian, whatever.
I don't remember. But like, ever since the paint can incident with Alistair, there's just been something slightly different about her. That, like, not in the, like, how do I explain this? It's not anything that's like been completely like, I know exactly what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, all of a sudden, there's just a little bit of like, she's acting slightly weird. And then bringing in all of the elders and making sure their faces are covered. It's like, are they really the elders? Like, there's just been a lot of questions happening in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And like these past couple of episodes where it's just like, she's acting slightly weird.
Yeah.
Especially with Mel being in the Sarkana and realizing that she likes the Sarkana better than the elders.
Yeah.
Like, it's that moment of like, what is happening right now? Because something is up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then this episode is like, well, fuck, that was not what I was expecting. But, okay. Sure. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the fact that they wind up in this room that can only be accessed by magic.
Yeah.
So it's good to know it's not a trap, at least not for them. Sorry. But I love that Maggie and Macy seem to touch an identical rune on either side of the room.
Yeah.
Both of them went for the same rune. On opposite sides of the room.
Yeah, that's funky.
And I'm like, okay. But then nothing happened between them.
No, because it wasn't about connecting them. It was about powering them up. So Macy gets a little powered up and she has the dream. Maggie gets a little powered up and she does a Freaky Friday with her sister.
Yeah.
Can I just say, they've thus far pretty much completely just dropped the thread of Maggie is full sister with Macy. Like, no one's brought it up in a few episodes.
Right. I kind of like that, though.
That's true.
I kind of like the fact that it's like, okay, yeah, we found out that Mel is really the half-sister, but we're sisters, and we're just going to be sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like that they didn't really make a big deal about it.
I know. It was
I hope
just
it'll come back up at some point.
It was a weird narrative tack to begin with.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it kind of made it somehow more understandable as to why Mel is so different in the, like, she doesn't care about any of the things that both of them care about kind of way, and they kind of, do you know what I mean?
Well, they're all three of them pretty different.
I mean, yeah, but my only thing about the whole...
I would say Mel is different in that she is much more confrontational than either of the other two.
True. My complete, like, my only real thought process here is that I don't understand how, in any way, shape, or form, Maggie is supposed to be half black.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's a weird narrative tack. Yeah.
Because, like...
Mm-hmm. Now, I know...
I mean, I don't mind
skin
it,
color, like melanin expresses itself very differently depending.
Yeah.
You can always have the fraternal twins where one of them looks like they're white and the other one looks like they're black, even though they're both black.
Yeah.
Or mixed race, I should say.
Yeah, and I totally get that. It was just one of those where it's like, really? Okay.
I think it would make more sense if they didn't spend so much time styling her hair. Because Sarah's natural hair is pretty curly.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, if they let her have it.
Yeah,
curl.
like all of the... I think I said this before, but all of the photos of her as a child that are in the physical house, very curly hair. Very adorable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a few ways that they could bring it back. There's a few ways that they could sprinkle it in a little bit more. But I'm kind of okay that they've let it drop a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm sure like it'll come back, but...
yeah.
You know.
I feel like they might have a storyline that'll be about, you know, she literally has never known her father, cannot know her father.
Right.
Whereas Macy has never known her mother, cannot really know her mother. Like, the two of them can certainly bond over that.
Yeah.
But, like, Maggie grew up thinking, what was his name? Ray.
Mm-hmm.
The truck driver name, but okay. Was her dad. And, you know, we saw her genuinely get excited about him coming over. And now she's like, oh, that isn't my dad. And so she'll, like, that will kind of be taken away from her in a way. And I feel like we're probably going to have a storyline that at least touches on the fact that she now has a dad she's never known.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll ever actually come up.
I don't think it'll be a full storyline, but I think it'll be a thread.
Yeah. And I kind of hope that if it does come up, that it comes up with the caveat of just because I'm not your biological father doesn't mean I'm not your father.
Mm-hmm. But let's face it, Ray hasn't been all that good of a dad.
Well, I mean, yeah, but, you know, I basically just want it to, if they're going to make a message out of it, capital M message out of it, which, you know, they like to do in this show, I hope that message is that biology isn't everything.
They're going to Mary Poppins it?
Kind of.
And by Mary Poppins, I mean Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes. Absolutely. Ray show up with a blue mohawk.
He might have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy.
Yep. I think that's the biggest thing is if they're going to make a capital M message out of it, I hope that message is biology isn't everything.
Well, yeah. And, chosen family. All that.
Chosen family and, you know, love trumps biology every time, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been listening to a podcast called Cut Off Genes, Genes.
All right.
It's basically about DNA and genealogy and all that shit. And there are, like, sometimes the listeners will share their stories, and there was this one guy who had been dating this woman, and then they broke up, and then after a while they got back together again, and she's like, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant. It's not yours. I hope you're okay with that. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I'm happy to be with you. Let's get married and raise this kid. And then they had another kid. And then she unfortunately passed away from cancer. Mm-hmm. And he did some DNA genealogy stuff, and then he tried to get it for his brothers, but his brothers didn't want to do it, so he gave it to his sons. And then he found out that the older son was actually his.
Oh, well, there you go.
And he tries to bring it up with the kid, and the kid's like, you've always been my dad, though?
Yeah.
Like I don't care?
Yeah. Like,
I mean, I care, but, like,
wait.
It's not that important to me.
Yeah, it's like, Mom lied to you. All right.
No, Mom didn't lie. Mom didn't know.
Oh, well, all right.
Like, he found letters that she'd written to the older son to be like, this is who your father was, this is why it didn't work out, I just wanted you to know. So she didn't even know, because, like, there was some issue. She thought she'd had a period in the interim, which is a thing that can happen.
Yep. Some people have a period throughout their entire pregnancy because their body is fucking weird.
Oh, God. It's such bad engineering.
Mm-hmm.
The human body is the best argument against intelligent design. Just by itself.
Yeah.
No one would fucking design this.
Oh,
Not
man.
this way.
Unless they were drunk.
Drunk, blazed,
yeah,
and fucking delusional.
Or it was a dare.
They were on acid.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. We have tangented so far. Let's get back to the show. I love that I immediately thought of, okay, so she's got this Macy has got this, like, you know, amped up power, whatever, and she has this dream of a guy turning to stone. I'm like, so she's now having premonitions of a Medusa?
Yeah, they mentioned her mom. They mentioned their mom's premonition stuff,
right? But I think it's interesting that Macy is the one that her amplified power is giving her premonitions. Mm-hmm. I think that's interesting that the one with telekinesis is also going to be the one with premonitions at some point, maybe.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the switching up of the powers, basically. I love that they've messed around with who gets what.
Yeah. Well, also Maggie is getting the weird force field cooch, which presumably will expand into being a full force field and not merely a cooch.
Well, because she did when Alistair did the whole thing, she was able to make this force field thing.
Yeah, that was a moment of crisis, though. So
right, and this was a moment of
emotional crisis.
So, you know, magical chastity belt.
Yep. Like magical chastity bomb.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, I just think it's interesting that, like, it makes me wonder what Mel's power.
Well, Mel's power, we've kind of seen. She does the, like, acceleration thingy.
Oh, yeah. But that's not really... But that was a spell, kind of.
No,
that was like
no, there was no actual spell. She just had to visualize things going along. Because that's speeding up time. Like how Piper had the molecular acceleration.
That's true,
and
that's true.
the
Was able to blow shit up.
Immobilization. Like, hers wasn't necessarily about time. It was about freezing and then speeding up. She's like a magical microwave in some ways.
Yeah. Okay.
Or like a fridge and microwave combo.
Okay. Yeah.
I can fridge-a-wave.
A fridge-a-wave. I can kind of see that. Yeah. Okay. That kind of makes sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if she'll be able to do it again.
She's already done it twice.
Yeah.
So
but like
all signs point
things.
to yes. Oh, bigger. Oh, I hope so.
Because that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
God, could you imagine? Like, that would be an amazing power to have, to, like, grow a garden.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, because
be like, I just planted this. I'm really wanting a salad. Oh, look, there's lettuce.
Oh, yeah, I've got to dig up the plot behind the backyard. Behind the garage. I found at the hardware store all of the, like, weed blocker fabric, and I got stakes for it. So I'm just going to, like, literally dig 6 inches down or so and, like, take all that dirt and just throw it at the back of the yard and put down the weed blocker fabric and then have a bunch of topsoil. And then I can have a fucking garden.
Yay!
Because the only other option was to literally just put, like, plant beds on
planters.
it. Although I honestly might still do that.
I mean...
Because, yeah, I've dug up all the weeds.
Yeah.
Or I will have dug up all the weeds.
Yes. Planters are always a good thing. Oh, yeah. I also enjoy the meta in when they find out that it's basically a Freaky Friday episode. And it's like, the one with Lindsay Lohan? No, the one with Jodie Foster. The original is so much better than the reboot.
Yep.
I love that so much. I was like, oh, this has gone all sorts of meta.
I didn't, up until that point, know there was an original Freaky Friday. Like, it made sense.
Oh my god, really?
No. Like, conceptually, I get that there was, but I'd never heard of it before.
Oh my god, that hurts me.
Like,
that
thinking...
physically pains me that you don't know the Jodie Foster version.
I've never seen it. And it was never part of the marketing campaign when the Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan one was coming out. Like, obviously, it had to have not been an original because...
It was based on a book.
Nothing is original.
Yeah.
And, of course, The Parent Trap that Lindsay Lohan was in was not the original one. I have seen the original one of that.
Thank goodness.
I especially love the bit where she cuts the dress at the back.
Yes.
It's the only part I remember at this point.
Haley Mills. Yeah, no,
Was that actually 2 people?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Nope. 1 person.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep.
That's the whole kind of fun of it. So they really are identical because it's 1 person.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Freaky Friday was based on a book, and the book was very, very good for its time.
Mm-hmm.
And I had such high hopes for the Lindsay Lohan version, and then they just ruined it in my brain. Like, I couldn't. Like, I
didn't enjoy all of the trailers for that, so I never watched it.
Yeah, don't waste your time. Mm-hmm. It's perfectly fine. There was
you want Lindsay Lohan, watch Parent Trap, watch Mean Girls.
I will admit, Parent Trap, Lindsay Lohan's version of Parent Trap, not that bad. Still not as good as the original, but it wasn't bad.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't bad, but
And what's her face? Who plays the mom?
I can see her in my head, but I can't think of her name.
Wasn't she married to Liam Neeson?
Possibly.
And died in a skiing accident?
I honestly don't know.
I believe so. Anyway.
No, but I enjoy the fact that they had that little moment of meta.
Yeah.
It was cute.
I love meta.
Yeah.
Some people might call it pandering. I call it inside jokes.
Exactly.
Like, there's stuff in here for, the casual watcher. And then there's some shit for the hardcore fans.
Yeah.
Or as hardcore as they get with this level of thing. Which I don't know. I might be one of the more hardcore fans.
Yeah. Oh, that was my other thing in this episode of how the fuck does Mel not understand a drink luge?
Girl never went drinking,
Like,
apparently.
she thought she was talking about an actual luge? Like,
That was funny.
What? I was so confused by that. I'm like, really? You work at a bar. Like, you've never even heard of a drink luge?
She does... Okay, first of all, she's been working at this bar for maybe a couple of months. Maybe. And she's never done, like, catering or anything, which is the only other possible context outside of a frat party or a wedding. Well, no, catering would cater a wedding. But, like, catering and frat parties are the only places you would ever see a drink luge.
I mean,
ever.
I guess so.
And we had one at my prom, but it was not go into your mouth. It was go into a glass.
Yes, which is how a drink luge is actually supposed to
exactly.
happen. And just, they wind up doing it straight into their mouths. I have, believe it or not, this is going to sound so weird. I have seen a drink luge at a baby shower. They did it with fruit punch.
That's cute.
It was adorable, but it was a little creepy.
Yeah, because fruit punch is red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little creepy.
Just a little.
A little bit. Oh, this was the reasoning. I had it in my notes, so I wouldn't forget, and yet I didn't remember. Was that we get Macy understanding that Charity is all kill the bad guy no matter what, and that's the moment of like, Macy is worried about the elders turning on her because she's all demony or whatever.
Yeah.
And
it ties into the whole Angela Wu thing.
Right. And that I think is part of it with the thing is Charity has been from the beginning of if it's bad, kill it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other option.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been weird on her.
Yeah.
Is she has no other option. It's just, oh, you're bad? Okay, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And so finding out the revelation at the end of this episode that Charity is the reason their mother is dead. It's like, well, what did she think Marisol was doing besides just working with the Sarkana that she had to go? You know what I mean?
I'm excited for you to find that out.
Yeah.
Because I know what happens.
Yeah. I have not watched that episode yet. La 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 la.
No, don't worry. I'm not going to spoil you.
Yeah. But no, but
I'm attempting not to spoil you with my facial expressions. So there we go.
Thank you. But yeah, that was my thing. Was like Charity has been on this, if it's evil, it dies thing from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
With no middle ground at all. And whenever the girls bring up well, what if we could save this person instead of killing this person? Charity's been against it. Mm-hmm. It's like, that doesn't seem...
she pretty reluctantly accepted it with Angela.
Yeah.
Because they managed to get...
They managed to do it before they
managed to get Harvey out of her.
Yeah.
So,
like they managed to figure out a way to do it and convince her, but she wasn't happy about it.
No, she wasn't.
And then the whole Alistair with the paint can thing happened, and it was like,
yeah,
you'd think that the elders would have some sort of way of not getting tricked by demons. You'd think. Apparently not, especially in their own freaking building. You'd think so, but apparently not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it kind of made me wonder just a little bit about Charity of like, is she working with Alistair? Is like, there's so many levels of questions.
Yeah, pretty much. Although I don't think it was the Elders building now, because we've seen the conference and it tends to happen in some weird metaphysical realm.
Yes.
Based on whoever they decide to meet.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy the way that Charity is shown to like be putting up a front around the other elders.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Hairstick drops the glamour thingy and she's like, What are you doing? What are you doing? We need this for privacy. And Hairstick's just like, yeah, it'll be fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of it is like, this other elder is like, no, everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the thing that needs to happen. And she kind of needs to see my face to do this.
Yeah.
And it was that little moment of like Charity being weird about it. It was like, there's just...
Yeah, we know she's not quite this uptight.
Yeah.
So why is she acting like it?
Yeah. It was weird. I did like when Maggie in Mel's body gets to Fiona, Fiona first thought she was Marisol.
Uh-huh. And
Which-
then
then she thought it was Maggie.
Yeah.
Which is one of those where, like, if you think that this is Mel, you're like, okay, she's just confused because whatever. But it's like, no, she can tell.
Yeah, she thinks she can tell, and then I don't know if she realizes that it was actually Maggie, or if she just thinks, oh, it's been a long time, I haven't seen them grown up.
Right. But yeah, I love the fact that she thought it was Marisol first.
Yeah, that was great.
Even though, I'm going to say it, Mel looks nothing like Marisol.
Nope.
Not even a little. Not even a little. But it was a very interesting moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is back to the charity, no other way but to kill her thing, is I was wondering, I was like, okay, is Macy going to try and save this Medusa like the same way that they saved Angela Wu? Or is Macy going to have to be the one that kills her, even though she doesn't want to?
Mm-hmm.
And so when they finally get to the Medusa of she's turning people to stone that look away from her.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she wants to be seen.
Yeah.
I was like, now that's how you do a message.
Yes.
Capital M message.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, I want to be seen.
Yeah. And it's a much better allegory for what happens, because in the original mythology, everyone turned away from what was done to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, everyone is turning away from the people doing all of the slut-shamey shit.
Right.
Fucking Lollipop Guild. Ugh.
Yeah. I don't even want to know.
That adds, like, a weird pedophilia aspect to it, and I do not enjoy.
Yeah, I don't even want to.
Yeah, no.
No.
Not gonna munch that, kin. Sorry.
Jesus Christ. On a stick. Okay,
Like a lollipop.
there you go. I also enjoy the fact of Macy looks at her and is like, you are valid. I see you. I understand. And the Medusa's way of letting others go is by turning herself to stone, which is kind of a neat little like, cool, you've seen me. Okay, I can go now.
Yeah, it's kind of like a spell resolving. Like,
Yeah.
if or like a video game boss going back dormant or whatever.
The other,
She only had one snake, too.
well, that we saw, yeah.
Yeah, but just the one. I like how it was just, like, around her bun.
Yeah, I did kind of enjoy that.
Also, that mask was hot.
The other thing that I found very interesting was Mel in Maggie's body is like, I don't care if this, ruins my ability to rush, which I thought was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, you have to do something about this, blah, blah, blah. Deal with the jerks in the Greek system.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes down so well that Parker throws the boys out of the frat.
Which apparently he couldn't do before.
And how does he have the authority to do it now?
I don't know. Maybe because there's more accountability. Because, like, before he said he'd known about it, but no one had been able to do anything about them yet.
But again, how does he have the ability? Is he the head of the frat?
I don't think he is, but
I
I think because Lucy is the president of a sorority, now he has her backing because she's making the decision to throw them out of the party or something.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a whole bunch of questions there. It was like,
I know.
How does he have the authority to throw them out of the fraternity?
Yeah, no.
This
is normally something that has to go down with, like, teacher sponsors and, like, house moms or whatever. Like, there's a whole thing that has to happen. There was a frat when I was in college that there was a sexual assault that happened during a party, and it was like their second or third strike. I forget how many strikes they did, like, they had a policy of, but, like, it was their last one. And so they were immediately shut down for, full investigation into the perpetrators involved. Mm-hmm. And all of the boys who were living there, and yes, I mean boys, because I met a lot of them, were then carted off to live in the dorms. And so my friend ended up living with one second semester. And there had also been a different frat on campus that had got some kind of probationary status where no one was allowed to live in there. Like, they were allowed to be part of the frat and they could still join and rush and everything, but no one lived in the frat house to prevent this thing. Like, the first strike is all your parties must be dry.
Yep.
Absolutely. Like, sororities already have that. They're not allowed to have anything but dry parties.
Right.
And no boys are allowed upstairs, whereas you can just go upstairs in the guy frat. Like, they're fine. Whatever.
Yep.
House mom might wave and say hi, but that's about it.
Yep.
And so the other frat had, like, just come back, and they were, like, finishing up refurbishing the frat house, which looked like a tiny little castle. It was so cute.
Nice.
But yeah, they gotta crack down on that shit better.
Yeah.
The Greek system is very
Flawed.
very flawed.
Very, very flawed. Yeah.
Especially when it's a huge part of campus.
Yes. Yes. But we know my thoughts on
Yes,
the
know.
Greek system. I do enjoy that they had a little sister bonding moment where they're like, they're both stronger than they realized. And that finally is like, oh, we can switch back now. Yay.
Yeah.
And the final scene, because I was kind of wavering again on this show, you know, one of the last episodes was like, but the final scene was like, all right, I'm back on board. Where the fuck is, what the heck's coming next? Where are we going? But like, Macy tries to get Charity to understand that what the elders might have been taught might not be the end all be all.
Yeah.
And Charity seems to be on board with that. And then, what did you call Elder Bari? Hairstick. She texts and wants to see Macy in private. And that's when it was like, Charity changed again. It was like a switch had been flipped.
Yeah.
And I was just like, there's just something happening. And then that last scene of like, Charity killed my mother. Hairstick's head is snapped.
The
it was
weird,
like, oh fuck.
Sparkly, crackly arm.
Yeah.
Electric arm.
What the fuck is happening? So yeah, it's definitely...
Yeah. The first 5 minutes of the next episode, you're going to be like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Okay. Yeah.
Like, at least a little bit in the background, I think.
Yeah. It's definitely... this episode has kind of gotten me back into the show. Like, all right, what the fuck's coming next? I need to see this, whatever. But like, I wish we're over halfway through the season.
Yeah,
we're coming up toward the end because I think there's only a few more episodes.
There's
right?
only like 8 more, I want to say.
Yeah,
or maybe there's longer. I forget.
Is it a full 23 season? 24 season?
I feel like it's 23, 22 or 23.
Okay, I don't know why I thought it was like 18, but
it's definitely not.
Okay, whatever. But we're over halfway through. We're pushing our way to the end.
Living on a prayer.
Yes, I wish this show had been able to capture my attention in the first 3 episodes. I wish it didn't take 10 episodes to get me into this show, because it's finally getting to the point where it's like, okay, now I'm interested. They're doing shit that's like, what the fuck is happening? I need to know what happens next. And I wish that had happened much earlier.
But that's always going to be subjective for each individual person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, you can't really blame the show for
and
that. And you can't really blame yourself either.
I mean, I do blame a bit of my own bias, and I get that. And for me, I know that the part of the reason that I was annoyed with the show is because of the one-dimensionality of the representation. And literally just not letting her have any other personality, any other, like, dimension to her. And they've finally given her more dimension. Because there's only so long that you can have a character who's just a man-hating dyke, Like, actually make her, a nice lesbian who, yes, she might not like men, but she doesn't hate everybody. Just saying.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that the show has definitely finally been like giving me enough in like the last 5 minutes to be like, what is going on? Okay, I need to see the next one. Do I have the next one yet? No, I have to wait a week? Fuck. You know, like, it's giving me that ability.
Do you think it's going to take you a little bit to get into season 2? Because we already know they've been picked up.
I hope not.
Uh-huh.
I hope not.
Okay. Yeah, you think the summer hiatus... Well, it's going to be a little bit shorter for us anyway, because we'll still have to record these, and we won't be, like, on top of them.
Yeah.
We'll be, like, a little later, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So then our summer hiatus is going to be a little bit shorter anyway.
Yeah. I'm hoping not.
Mm-hmm. So you think it's gonna lend more toward anticipation?
I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah. It really, truly, for me, the biggest thing is if they keep the plot lines interesting, and they don't necessarily have to leave it on a cliffhanger every episode, but making sure that everyone is more than one-dimensional, making sure that the writing is good, making sure that, you know, the acting is good, you know, and I think that's part of it too. Is like the acting is great.
Yeah.
They're doing great with what they've got. And what they've got has gotten better.
Yeah.
But I think that was part of it, was just the writing in the first few episodes was just a little hard for me. But it's gotten much better. And they've gotten to have much more interesting storylines.
Yeah, I agree.
I think final thoughts, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, because you've seen the next episode, but I haven't. Like, this one is more like, you know, 8 out of 10 for me. Because the ending totally makes up for all the meta insanity that's been happening. Because I need to know what's coming next. But I wonder, like, if Charity is under some sort of spell, or because, you know, we know that Parker's dad was able to manipulate her. So it's like, what is the reasoning behind what happened? And, like, I can't wait to find out.
Yeah.
What's coming next.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I also like the fact that they had Mel in the Greek system.
Yeah.
For a little bit, even though she was in Maggie's body, or other way around, or what.
No, Mel was in Maggie's body. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the fact that she got to see the Greek system from the inside for a minute.
Yeah.
And she wasn't like, this sucks, rah, rah, rah. She was like, okay,
she
I'm
also
here.
didn't see a whole lot. She basically just
saw a toga party.
Well, put on a dress and attempted to talk with a girl who was clearly a little traumatized about being in a frat again.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like the fact that they didn't have her...
I just remembered. In the van on the way to the toga party, she hears someone thinking, is Maggie giving me some lesbian energy right now?
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. But I like the fact that they had her in the Greek system even for a little while, and she wasn't like, this sucks, rah, rah, rah. She was okay with it. Like, she was like, I have to do this because, you know, I can't ruin
Maggie's chances.
Yeah, I can't ruin my sister's life because she'll never forgive me, you know? And so she went into it with a more open mind than she probably would have, you know, 5 episodes ago.
I personally don't feel like it was an open mind so much as it was this will be over soon.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it was it was a much more open mind than it would have been, you know, episode 2. Just saying.
I think one of my final thoughts is not really a gripe so much as it is I'm wondering why it is they decided to not have the whole discussion of, no, you have to wear the clothes that I would wear. So people are gonna know something's wrong. Because that was never discussed at all. No. They just let Maggie and Mel's body walk around in that outfit. And no one was... The only person who even mentioned it as being out of the ordinary was Jada, who goes, I'm loving the femme look here.
Yeah. My big question is that Mel and Maggie are not the same size.
No, they're not.
So where did she get those clothes?
I don't know.
That's my question.
Clearly, they just pulled them out from wardrobe and they're like, what would Maggie wear? And I do not think they hit the mark.
Yeah, well, that aside...
They hit close to the mark.
That aside...
They hit in the general ballpark of the mark. However, they went all the way to third base. Maggie ends up being a shortstop between first and second. Like, at the most.
Okay, sports reference.
It's not really even a sports reference because it's kind of like a sports sex reference, if anything. Like, it's a hybrid.
Sure. No, but my thought process was, did Maggie go shopping?
At this point, I don't know, and I'm a little afraid to ask.
Yeah. But, like, that was literally my only thought. Was, like, because there's no way that Mel had those clothes just in her closet.
No, I think they raided each other's closets. Is the in-universe explanation, even
Probably.
though we know they're not the same size?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Where it's like, there is no way that single pair of jeans fit all of those people.
Magical realism.
Yeah. There's just no way. Mm-hmm. But, we let it slide.
Like a luge.
Yes. We suspend our disbelief for entertainment's sake.
Like those boys from the frat.
Yeah. Anyway.
We done?
Yeah, I think we're done. We have to sign off.